Hey everyone, this is Kyle Treadway. Hopefully you saw my last two videos regarding the ERC20 token management dashboard and the vesting dashboard. Now we're going to be moving on to a rundown of the airdrop management dashboard. This is an add-on along with my Dominate package. So this uses a Merkle tree to handle whitelist-based token distributions. So basically think of like if a new DeFi protocol was coming out and they wanted to build a community, maybe they would say, hey, first 500 people to join our mailing list are going to get 1,000 tokens each. Something like that is what you would use an airdrop for. Before we connect the wallet, and I'll show you exactly what it has to offer, let's go up to the top here and you'll see the address for the token airdrop, or the name, pardon me, of the contract and the address. So it's Etherscan verified, can be audited by anybody. All right. So now let's go ahead and connect wallet. As you can see, we're on the deployer wallet, right? That's why you have the admin here. You wouldn't see that just on anyone who was eligible for airdrop status, and we'll jump into that. So let's start at the top. So here, contract balance, there's 750 tokens in this, right? So there are 3 different wallet addresses that have airdrop status right now that total 600 tokens. I have an additional 150 that we're going to utilize later when we update the Merkle root and add an address that we're going to give 150 to, and you'll see how that works. All right, so total claimed out of those 3 people totaling 600 tokens, no one's claimed anything yet. And then there's a deadline. So anytime that there's an airdrop, there's always a, hey, first 500 on the mailing list, get 1,000 tokens, and it's good for a month. If you don't claim it within that month, then the contract gets to take those tokens back so they're not wasted. Right, so so let's take a look at the My Airdrop status before we jump into the admin panel. So as you can see, the admin has no airdrop status. They're not getting any tokens from this. So let's go ahead and choose the wallets that do, just so you can see what it looks like. Right, so if you look here, if I do this guy, right, this is eligible here for 100 tokens, right? 100 STK tokens, time remaining 18 days, 17 hours, same as the claim deadline, right? And this deadline is pulling straight from the contract too, right? So no manual work needed when it gets to the end. It just automatically updates, it's completed. If you haven't taken your tokens, too bad, so sad. So, so same, this has 100. We have the second one, which has 200. There we go. And then we have the third, which has 300. And there we go. So let's go back to the first one here, and let's just see how this works. So I'm going to go ahead and claim those 100 tokens. You can see it's the claiming airdrop token hits. And let's confirm. All right, so now you can see that went through. Let's see here as this loads. And there we go. So it transferred those 100 tokens of STK to that address. Perfect. All right, so now the button goes away. It says airdrop's been claimed. You have successfully claimed 100 STK. All right, so before we do any of the other ones, let's go ahead and go back to the admin here. Okay. Now you can see there's 650 tokens left in the balance because we claimed 100 and 100 has been totally claimed. So that works perfect. So now when we jump into the Merkle root, updating that, let's explain kind of what this is. So a Merkle tree, think of it as kind of like a fingerprint for your entire whitelist. The whitelist just has all the addresses you want to give to and the amount for each person that you want to give to, okay? So everything is stored within that fingerprint, basically in a pyramid structure. At the very, very top, you have the Merkle root. So all of the people within that pyramid, the address that they're in, right, their proofs show that they belong to that fingerprint. So anytime that you want to add someone in after that fingerprint has already been made, you have to update that Merkle root to include that person, or it won't show that they're eligible, right? So there's a way that we go about updating this, and it's going to take some code, right? So we're going to actually do this together. Okay, so in my project, this is my whitelist, right? This didn't exist just before this video. I just had these 3, but I'm going to add this 4th one here to that. Now that I've added this in, I'm going to go ahead and run a prompt, which is going to run this script, this generate-merkle, okay? So let's do that. Actually, before we jump into that, we need to take a look at the fact that my 4th one, you can see, is not eligible yet. So now, okay, now that we saw that, we're going to go ahead and run it. And it's adding on the 150 now, right? The one that said that it wasn't eligible. And the Merkle root, we're going to copy this. Okay. Now let's go back to the deployer wallet. And we have that new Merkle. Okay, we're going to update that root. And we're updating the Merkle root. Confirm. All right, now we can see, perfect, that we updated the Merkle root. All right, so now let's go back here. And now I need to go in my code and copy over the proofs.json that's scripted and paste it into my dashboard. So I'm going to do that. All right, so now that I copied the proofs over to the dashboard, you just have to redeploy the site. So meaning I just pushed everything to GitHub and it's going to redeploy and update the root, and we'll see that happen. All right, so I'm going to go in. And there we go. All right, showing 150 STK. That is eligible for this person here. So that shows it. Now let's go back to the admin and just go over the last couple of things. All right, so now that the Merkle root is updated, you can also update the claim deadline. So, I mean, even if it goes down to 0 and it's done, and they decide that they want to continue it going, you can add to it. 18 days, let's go, you know what, I want to extend it a little while. Let's go, you know what, let's go 2027 of March 30th, right? And let's hit update. We can update that deadline, and we'll watch the amount of time increase. So let's give it a minute. There you go. Now 364 days, 7 hours. So that works. And then we have our pause, airdrop and unpause, which is just like the vesting contract. This is just while you're updating things, updating the Merkle root that no claims happen, so you can confirm. All right, so when you go, once that button is paused and you go to any of the status, right, it grays it out so they can't actually claim, right? So any of the ones that still have it in, you won't be able to see it. All right, you can't do it at all until I go back and unpause. I should have done the pausing first before I update the Merkle root. That's actually the best way to go, is to pause it so there's no claims or anything going on while you're updating the Merkle root. So better to pause, update the Merkle root, and then unpause. But I was just kind of going in order. So let's unpause this. Okay. All right, perfect. So now, now you'll notice the last thing down here is grayed out. It says recover tokens. This is only for the deployer, for the company, whatever it is. You're going to have a contract balance here. This is what's still able to be claimed. But once the time goes out, I can't pick time in the past, or I would show you, and I tested it on Hardhat because you're able to push time forward there and see it completed. What it does is it shows complete here, and all the tokens still in the contract balance. That deployer, the owner, can go ahead and recover those tokens just like in the vesting contract. So that's how that would work, and that has been tested and worked. That's just the only thing on Sepolia that I can't actually show. But besides that, that's how the airdrop works. If you have any questions on it, please don't hesitate to reach out. Once again, this is my airdrop management dashboard, which is for my Dominate package as an add-on. If you haven't seen my token dashboard or my vesting, please go ahead and watch those. Thank you again so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.